Hi, and welcome to The Bright Balloon, a podcast where I'm sharing bright ideas for your balloon business. My name is Sarah Meyer, and I'm a balloon business owner like you, and I love the creative side of what I do, but I really love the business side, which seems to be the part where most people struggle. So I'm here to help. Each week, I'm bringing you an episode full of bite-sized tips you can use to make tiny improvements to your business. I want you to make more money, eliminate stress, and learn along with me as we grow our creative businesses together. Welcome to The Bright Balloon. Hello and welcome to this episode. All right, last week I talked about how to say no to clients, and as soon as I finished recording, I realized I left out a huge portion of the people that we need to say no to, and that is charity work or people asking for free balloons. So if you didn't listen to last week's episode, that is all about saying no to jobs that either aren't a good fit or don't work with your schedule, or just how to say no to people. This episode is going to focus on charities or people asking for free balloons, because you might be available and just that's not your policy to give away free stuff. And I don't think people understand what they're asking. They see that as somehow supporting a small business, but the way to support a small business is to spend money. So we're going to talk about graceful ways to get out of donating work for free without, just saying no, and you don't want to burn bridges. And sometimes it is valuable to give away some free work. So I am going to talk about all of those scenarios. I do donate some balloons, so I'm going to talk about what those situations are, how I negotiate some of those situations as soon as we get back from this short break. BalloonCoach.com has been a sponsor of The Bright Balloon since pretty much day one because, like this podcast, Balloon Coach focuses on growing your balloon business. I personally love Balloon Boss Mastermind because it is a group that constantly challenges me to grow my business, think about things in new ways, and I'm able to ask questions to other balloon business owners who usually have more experience than I do. From monthly webinars to in-person events and downloadable resources, BalloonCoach.com really has it all. So check out the link in the show notes wherever you're listening to learn more about BalloonCoach.com. All right, let's get right into this episode. I want to share 5 strategies that you can use when you are asked to donate free balloon decor. Now, who would ask for free stuff? Charities, churches, schools, nonprofits, community events. We've all gotten those emails where people are asking for discounts or free decor. Now, I don't have an all or nothing strategy for this. I'm not going to say you should never, ever, ever work for free, but you should have some strategy behind it so that it actually amounts to good PR for you or a strong relationship. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But first, I just kind of want to dismiss any myths about these organizations. First of all, schools, nonprofits, churches, community events, while those are the most likely to ask for free decor, in my experience, those are also some of the events that have the biggest budgets. Like this month alone, I did a $2,000 job for a high school. I did a $2,000 job for a church. And last month I did a $1,500 gala for a nonprofit. So just because you might assume that they have limited budgets does not mean that's the case. Just like us, they can decide to spend their money however they want. Now, just because someone reaches out and asks for free decor, it doesn't mean that you have to get angry or mad or educate them about all of our expenses and how dare they. I feel like approaching it with a chip on your shoulder doesn't really help the situation. It's better to kind of be equipped with different strategies to either say no or to utilize that as a positive partnership. So that is mostly what I want to focus on. So I do quite a bit of charity work, actually. Like I said, I don't have a strong all or nothing approach to this. I think that part of owning your own business is making decisions that are best for you. So, one of my favorite strategies, the one that I think I lean heaviest on, is to choose an annual charity and donate to them. So, don't say, no, I don't do any free work, but get ahead of it and choose a charity that you would actually be happy to donate to and offer that to them. Set some limits so, it's not just free balloons forever. But for example, I work with a local charity. It's called Inspiration Ministries, and it provides job training and housing for adults with special needs. So it's definitely a worthy charity. And this year I decorated their adult prom for free. So I was happy to do that. I was able to create relationships with people inside the organization. And when I say create relationships, I mean I have their emails. We've gone back and forth. We're actually working together on a future project. We networked a little bit. We met for coffee. We are friends on Instagram now. It was more than just dropping off free balloons and responding to one email. Because I committed to this organization for the year, not only is it giving me more of a relationship with them, but it kind of is an easy out for anybody else who asks me for free decor. So instead of just saying no, I say I'm unavailable to work for free for your event because this year the organization that I'm supporting is Inspiration Ministries. So that way, again, I'm not saying no, but I'm just saying no to them right now. You could formalize this and have people nominate charities. You could pick one on your own. You could have an ongoing relationship with the same charity forever. But I think it's fun to give back to the community, and I'm happy to do that as long as it's on my terms. Now, I'm much less likely to do that when someone asks me for free balloons dropped off at this time on this theme for this school, and they're paying all their other vendors, but they just can't afford any decor. I'm not going to get anything out of that. I'm not going to get any money, obviously. I'm not probably going to meet anybody. They're not really going to go out of their way to promote me. So that is something that is easy to say no to. And again, it's really easy to say no when you say it's because you're working with this other established charity, and tell them who it is, and they can look and know that that's true. And maybe they will want to work with you in the future. So picking a charity and actually doing free work for someone that you choose for an entire year. And again, that doesn't mean they get everything they want for free for a year. That could just be one event that you do, and they're your charity for the year. You could celebrate that on your social media. You can celebrate that in a press release or on your website. How cool would that be if you made a big announcement? The 2022 annual charity is this. Nominations for the 2023 charity are ongoing, and we'll announce that at the beginning of next year. That way, you're actually doing good for the community, you're celebrating it, and you're kind of avoiding all those other conversations about free decor. All right, let's move on to the second strategy, and that is to trade for a sponsorship. Now, I don't love this one as much. I've done it, and I don't think that it has as much return on investment. So this would be something like a local event is selling sponsorships, and there's the gold and the platinum and the double bronze, whatever. They have all these different levels, and you get different things for certain levels. One might be your logo on a banner at the actual event, or maybe they're going to put the sponsors on the website, whatever. You can trade your services at whatever that sponsorship level is. So say that the gold level is a $500 sponsorship. Instead of saying, yes, I'll give you $500, that will never, I don't want to say never, but in my experience, you will never see a return on that investment. It's much better to say, well, I'll take that $500 sponsorship, but I will give it to you in the form of balloon decor. Because for me, $500 of balloon decor is not very much. That's several, columns. And at least if I'm going to donate that, I know that my balloons are also going to be at the event, and people are much more likely to see them versus just a logo on the website. In terms of cash exchange, to me, that will never, ever pay off. So you could do some sort of a trade, but I would say you should always have your balloons there. So again, people will approach me just as a straight up sponsor, and I will absolutely never do that. I'm never just going to give money for my name to be on a banner. I want my balloons to be there, and I think you can try to negotiate a value for your balloons and that sponsorship. But this is kind of my third point, and this is the route that I would go. Not only should you negotiate for that sponsorship, so say that I'm going to donate $500 of balloon decor, I would try to get them to pay for your balloons. So don't donate everything, donate your labor. That way you're at least working for free. Because when we think about donating balloons, we're actually losing, especially right now, we're losing a lot of money. Say that you throw some, chrome or shiny balloons in there, like those are 25 cents a balloon. So all of a sudden you're doing a free arch. You personally are going to be losing like $30, $40, $50 plus your time, your labor, your delivery. So I think a smarter way to approach this is to say that you will donate your labor on, say, a balloon arch. And that way you are pricing them for like the materials. And that way you can quote them, $75 to cover your expenses. And that way you truly are only donating your time and your labor. Because if you start donating product, that can add up really quickly. So I would always try to get compensated for your actual balloons. A way to phrase this is to say that you'll do it at cost. Now, a word of caution. If they know that a balloon arch only costs you $50 to make, that might lead into some difficult conversations down the road. So that is why my preference is to go with my first option that I already shared, and that is picking a charity and sticking with them and just donating for one or two events over the course of the year. You don't want to show all your cards, and the more you try to negotiate, the more you might do that. Okay, let's talk about the fourth strategy. And that is having a standard item. So this is one that I have started doing for my Chamber of Commerce. So I am a member, which makes it a little bit dicier because I want to be a good member. I don't want to say no to everything, but I don't want them to get balloons from someone else. So I like being involved, but in order to kind of manage their expectations and also save on some of that energy of emailing back and forth, because sometimes that's where we lose all the time is on the emailing and the designing. I just try to cut right to the chase, and I say my standard donation is 2 columns in the colors of your choice, and it's $150 value. Boom, done. And they can say yes or they can say no. Obviously, they're going to say yes. If they want more than that, it makes it really easy to charge them. So again, for me, 2 columns, it's going to be 15 minutes of work. Yes, I am donating the balloons, but again, that way I'm not showing my cards because it's dicey when I say I'll just do it at cost, and the cost is just a couple dollars, because the next time I try to charge them $150, they're going to know that really I only paid a few dollars for those materials. So I think this is the simplest option if you do feel compelled to donate. Yes, absolutely, I'd love to be involved. My standard donation package is 2 columns in the color of your choice. Let me know if that will work and what column or what colors you would like. That way you're not having the conversations, you're not setting up ridiculous site visits. Sometimes people who are asking for free stuff also ask for tons of your time and tons of your energy, and you don't want to go down that route. Another tip, this is not one of the 5 that I'm sharing, but another tip is to always include cards. If it's a school and you're donating, make sure that you set the expectation that you are also going to include cards to set out next to the balloons. So anytime you can get that free advertising in there, that's great. But please trust me when I say that alone is not worth it. When you donate, you should expect to get nothing from it. If you expect this huge return on your investment, you're probably not going to see it. But if you expect nothing and maybe a couple people are going to reach out, then that feels great. But anytime you do a huge event with the expectation that it's going to generate all this buzz and new business, it probably will not. So it should at least be something that is near and dear to your heart, that you are going to promote and that you are going to turn into something worth publicizing. Okay, I'm going to take a quick break, and then I have a couple more tips to share when we get back, including how to say no. Because ultimately, a lot of these conversations are going to lead to you having to say no, and we're going to talk about how to do that. Hey friends, I wanted to take a second to tell you about Havin a Party Wholesale. They are my preferred balloon distributor, and if you're not following them on Instagram, you're missing out. They post tons of free education for the balloon industry, in addition to updates on products that are coming in stock or new releases, and they really take care of us as balloon decorators. I had someone reach out the other day and ask if I order on Amazon, and I almost passed out. If you are ordering your balloons on Amazon, you are wasting so much money. You need a reputable balloon distributor to take you to that next level. So check out Havin a Party Wholesale in the show notes wherever you're listening. All right, welcome back. Before I get into the last point that I wanted to share, let's just review. So the first strategy is to choose an annual charity and just stick with them and say no to everybody else. The second strategy would be to trade for that sponsorship spot. So your logo on the banner or some way that they are promoting you. The third is to donate your labor only. Remember, this one could get dicey because if you start telling people your actual cost to make balloon arches and columns, they might remember that next year and kind of flinch when you give them the full retail value of your products. So the fourth option was to have a standard donation item. So in this one, you actually are going to be giving up product and giving up time for free, but it's going to be a quick and clear conversation. And sometimes the time that you save up front is worth losing a little bit in that material cost. So cutting out all the emails and the back and forth and the site visits and what did you have in mind? Just eliminate all of that, donate your standard items, and be done with it. Okay, so now the last one is actually is a great strategy, and that is to donate additional items based on a percentage of their total purchase. So this works really well for like schools and churches. I would say organizations with a limited budget, not organizations that have no budget or they want something totally for free. Schools usually have a budget. Let's say they're doing like a daddy-daughter dance. They have a budget for that event. They just don't have as much as they want. So what I think works really well is to say that like, I will donate 20% above and beyond what you order. So that's not saying like, place your order and I will give you 20% for free. That's saying if you order $100 worth of balloons, I'll give you an additional $20 worth of balloons for free. Now, the reason that this one I think is interesting is because it forces them to spend money, and it also forces them to be the ones to make the decisions. So instead of putting you in the spot to either say yes or no, it kind of flips it and it puts them in the position to say yes or no. So you're giving them a nice upsell, a nice discount, but ultimately they still need to decide whether or not they want to spend that money. It also sets some nice limits. So if you're going to give them a 20% upgrade, if they spend $100, let's say, I don't even sell anything for $100, quite honestly, I don't know. But let's say that's a balloon column and they spend $100 and then they get $20 extra for free. That $20 extra, that's not very much. So that's maybe like a bouquet to put at the door. It sets the limit so that they're not thinking like, well, I'll order a balloon column and then maybe you'll include an arch. Like, nope, no way. You are setting those limits. And it's like the more that they spend, the more that they get. And ultimately that is up to them. So if they have a $100 budget and the extra $20 isn't going to be worth it for them, then whatever. But it might be that they have like a $500 budget and then that extra 20% actually adds up to the rest of the decor that they had in mind. So I like this strategy because it's not saying no, but it's definitely not saying yes. And it requires them to do a little bit more thinking. And that, how do you get to this point really takes, I think, just some nuances like reading between the lines in emails, maybe a phone conversation. I've been in business for 5 years and I can kind of vet these situations quickly based on how the emails are written, what they're asking for. People are usually pretty reasonable. So I think if the request seems unreasonable, it usually is, versus I think we can all understand that like schools wish they had more money. Churches wish they had more money. Nonprofits wish that they had more money. But a lot of times they have some money. So you shouldn't be donating your materials, your labor, your time, your delivery just because they don't have the money in their budget. That's fine. That's not your problem. You can absolutely say no. So, how do you do that? If it gets to the point where you're just like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to donate anything for free. Here are things that I would avoid, first of all. I think people really like to get on their soapbox and like educate the person that is offending them. Like, I'm a small business and this is coming out of my pocket, and when you ask for something for free, you're asking me to spend the money. Like, ugh, just avoid that. Just skip it. It's not worth your energy. Half the time, people don't even know that they're asking someone to donate for free. Like, people are just kind of clueless when it comes to this stuff. So I like to come up with a standard response and then save it as an email template, and then don't be emotional about it. You don't need to get in the weeds and tell them why it's wrong for them to ask, or you don't need to get mad. You don't need to explain your costs. You just don't need to get into any of that. Instead, create an email template. Maybe you're going with option 1 and you already have a charity, and just say, thank you so much for your request. Our charity of choice for 2022 is XYZ. Please keep us in mind for future events. Or maybe you're not going to do that option and you just have a standard email that says, thank you so much for contacting us at this time. We are unable to accommodate any events looking for donations. It can be that simple. It doesn't make you mean. It doesn't make you stingy or selfish. But again, you don't have to go to the other end of the spectrum where you're like yelling at this person. They're probably just on a committee and they were in charge of asking for free balloons. Don't take it out on them, but don't feel obligated to give them anything either. I think it's totally reasonable to donate balloons to like your kids' schools, maybe your own church, maybe an organization that, for me, animals is always something I love to support. So like, that's the fun part of running your own business. You get to choose what you donate to and what you do not. And if your answer is no all the time, that is fine. But if you do want to donate some balloons, it's also okay to capitalize on that and turn that into good PR for you. Any big company like, Coca-Cola or Amazon, like when they donate anything, they do a press release. They make sure you know about it. They celebrate it on their website. So you're certainly not an opportunist if you celebrate and publicize the things that you do donate to. I think that is also a great strategy. Don't just like do it to get it over with and drop off your free columns and leave. Absolutely try to pass out cards. Absolutely put something on social media celebrating the event and saying that you supported it with balloons. Oops, that's another tangent. Don't say that you donated anything. And sometimes it's okay to ask the organization not to say that either. You don't want to broadcast everywhere that you donated. So they can call you a sponsor, they can call you a vendor, they can call you. Don't have them say thank you for the donation of the balloons, because that just opens another can of worms and more people are going to be looking for free stuff. That's why my preference is strongly with picking one charity and sticking to it. It really avoids all these conversations. So that is what I do. I hope that maybe that solves the problem. I know certain people are getting hit up a lot right now as we go into summer, and there's like different events and charities and fundraisers every single weekend. So figure out what works for you, turn it into an email template, and stick to that decision. All right, have a great week. I will see you in the next episode. Thanks for joining me in this week's episode. As usual, I tried to keep it bright and light in a few minutes or less. If you wish there were more episodes, you are in luck. You can join us in our Patreon group for our monthly book club. I record weekly episodes guiding you through a different self-development book each month. For as little as $3 a month, you can join more than 50 other balloon business owners in our private group. Click the link in the show notes to join us. So many of you have reached out and told me how the podcast has changed your business, and I love hearing those stories. But you might be ready to take things to the next level. If that's you, you should check out the laser-focused Solopreneur course where I walk you through more than 2 hours of video content showing exactly how I run my business as a solopreneur. I run a 6-figure balloon business, I work a full-time job, I have a toddler, and I produce this podcast weekly. And it's not because I'm more efficient than anybody else, it's just because I apply this laser-focused framework to every decision that I make. If you're struggling with work-life balance, figuring out how to grow your business in a manageable way, and feeling like there just aren't enough hours in the day, this course is for you. Check it out using the link in the show notes.